signs a deal with Jersey, allowing for Great British Pounds to crypto trading pairs in the future. Singularity Net partners with DeepBrain Chain. Tron founder Justin Sun acquires BitTorrent. A new study reveals that Tether might be guilty of price manipulation. Chinese e-commerce giant JD to issue blockchain asset-backed securities. The EOS mainnet has yet to launch without its critical 15% voter participation. Exposing a critical flaw in data validation, this man identifies himself successfully as Leonardo da Vinci. And even in its darkest hour, Bitcoin is still more popular than Beyonce. We've got all your headlines mixed with some daily market analysis. I'm Elio Trades, and your FUD TV Daily Update starts now. Welcome back, FUD Nation. Now, obviously, everything's red. We know the market's dumping like crazy. And again, I want to reiterate that FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, the reason why we created this entire channel, is at an all-time high. In fact, I've scarcely remembered a time in the last year and a half that it's been as high as it is now. And even though there have been market dips and a lot of pullbacks throughout the early part of 2018, I think a lot of crypto or veteran crypto traders, investors, were very, very confident in the future no matter what. But it's been starting to feel lately as though people are losing their firm confidence in the future of crypto, the future of Bitcoin, the future of price escalation. And I want to reiterate that it's precisely when fear is at its maximum that the real investors, the real movers and shakers, really come out and start getting their teeth sunk into this market. They start getting greedy. If you look at the financial crash of 2008, the big investors that bought during the worst doom and gloom hours of the crash of the housing market ended up making untold amounts of wealth off of the recovery of that market. And the same is happening here. We're seeing the market go down in a serious way, and it wouldn't surprise me to see us dip under 6K Bitcoin. It wouldn't surprise me to see us dip under even a 5K Bitcoin, but I just want to reiterate that this doesn't take away from any of the fundamentals. It's short-term price action, not long-term sustainability of the industry. So all you have to understand is that you're going to be given a chance here to act in the opposite way of the market. And I'm not saying that you should do that definitively. This is not professional financial advice. However, I personally will be looking to accumulate more as we dip under 6, and especially if we dip under 5K Bitcoin. And I will not only just be accumulating Bitcoin, I'm going to be accumulating the altcoins, which are due to suffer significantly in this drop. So I'm not focusing on how much these coins are down. I'm focusing on how cheaply I can accumulate more of projects that I truly believe in. Fundamentals are the backbone of this channel. And that's why we preach so much about fundamental analysis, as fundamentals don't change because of speculative price action. So without really diving in on these charts, because there's all of 3 coins besides Tether in the green, let's hop over to some news. There's a lot to cover, and there is some good news even on a day like today. In continuing his quest to be cryptocurrency's man of the year, Changpeng Zhao, CZ of Binance, has just inked a deal with an island off the coast of the United Kingdom that's part of the United Kingdom called Jersey. And Jersey is actually capable of allowing for Binance to set up a bank account and allow for Great British Pounds to be traded against crypto pairings. This means that there could very well soon be Euro pairings as well as Great British Pound pairings available on the Binance platform. That's 2 of the world's most prominent fiat currencies available to be traded through the Binance platform. So while the markets are tanking and people are getting all caught up in short-term price action, CZ is continuing to build out and develop the infrastructure which will allow for this industry to blossom in the near, middle, and long-term futures. So big shouts out to CZ. It's not the only Binance news we'll be covering, as they're also going to be supporting the Icon mainnet token swap, which has of course been a topic of confusion and interest by the Icon community. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a second, but regardless, CZ continues to plow forward and give us great news and a lot to look forward to in terms of adoption and construction of an ecosystem that can actually support the world's future of the world's commerce. This is so exciting, and we just couldn't be more bullish about Binance and really just about this guy CZ and what he's providing to us, the cryptocurrency community. So much respect, so much adoration for this guy, and thanks again for another piece of great news. In another piece of news that we absolutely loved learning about in the last few hours, Singularity Net and DeepBrain Chain have teamed up. Now, we tried to compare these two in an AI blockchain. Well, we talked about AI blockchains and the difference between them in several videos, and it's always the same comparison. Oh, do you like Deep Brain Chain or Singularity Net? What I tried to explain to people is that AI is a very complex technology with many facets, and Deep Brain Chain and Singularity Net are fundamentally focusing on different issues within this industry. Really, the crux of this comes down to the fact that Singularity Net offers service providers and a wide network of AIs to sort of pick from, whereas Deep Brain Chain focuses more, and I'm oversimplifying here, on the processing computing power required to power those AIs. So in reality, this is a perfect match, a match made in heaven, if you will, between the sort of AI marketplace and the computing power necessary to power that marketplace. Now, I've oversimplified these projects, but I just wanted to give you a sense of how they're going to be working together. In essence, Deep Brain Chain will be providing the fuel for Singularity Net's sort of front-facing AI marketplace. And Deep Brain Chain will have AI marketplaces of its own, but really they're solving critical problems for each other in that Singularity Net will be utilizing this data marketplace and Deep Brain Chain, or this processing power marketplace, and Deep Brain Chain will be fueling Singularity Net's AI marketplace. So it's a very cool collaboration between two very forward-looking projects, and really they're very much so some of the most established AI producers and creators in the world, with the Singularity Net having created Sophia and the Deep Brain Chain team having created AIs that date back successfully to 2012. So this is a very established group of teams here, and we're very excited about what this partnership may net as far as leading to increased utility of the Deep Brain Chain and Singularity Net tokens, which of course the investors will relish. Now on to the news that Justin Sun, the creator, the Wunderkind behind Tron and a few other apps in China, has just purchased BitTorrent. If you've ever heard of the Pirate Bay, those are all torrents that are essentially many different peers that are allowing for you to download little bits of that file and then reassemble it back on another side. And I've also oversimplified BitTorrent's technology, but that's essentially how it works. And to that effect, it's fairly unique and has been extremely successful and extremely dominant in its field of being the sort of peer-to-peer way to source big media files. It's continued on to be a great way to do so years and years later. Well, we don't know much about the way BitTorrent is going to be integrated into the Tron platform, or even if it will be, though considering Tron's focus on decentralized internet and with a huge media and content focus, it makes a lot of sense. There are millions upon millions of BitTorrent users globally, and of course I'm betting that Justin Sun will start to call those future Tron wallets or future Tron users, given the way he likes to lump all the good stuff together. But regardless, this is very exciting, and it just shows that Justin Sun keeps pushing creatively. I don't believe he used any of Tron's funds to acquire BitTorrent. I believe he used his own personal funds. I don't know whether Tron's going to then purchase it back for them or license something from him or just collaborate. I have no idea. But what I can tell you is this: Justin Sun is making moves, and this BitTorrent sale is a big deal. So we're going to keep our eyes on the prize here, and we'll keep you updated whenever we find out meaningful news about how, when, or even if this is going to be integrated into the TRX platform. And sadly but truly, there's a study that has just been released that Tether is actually responsible for quite a bit of price manipulation throughout its history, really. But of course, it contributed largely to the price inflation of late 2017. Tether was largely being printed. We don't really know how to check Tether's bank accounts, though a BitMEX research study has shown that they're banking most likely with Noble Bank in Puerto Rico. We can't really confirm, we can't see those accounts. So we don't really know exactly how much money Tether has at any given point in time, though it's largely assumed they have about as much as they claim to have in Tether. The reality is, at the beginning of the month, it sort of appeared that they've been printing Tether, and then based on the sort of end of month sell-off, based on all of the Bitcoin that they've garnered, they've been able to sell back and sort of make good on their bank accounts at the end of the month. In the end, we don't have any way to confirm this, but we do know that there has been proven a strong correlation between the printing of Tether and increases in the price of Bitcoin. This has been considered and classified as manipulation, and unfortunately, people are sort of fearful that this was largely the reason why Bitcoin had its crazy run-up over 2017. Obviously, everyone enjoyed the bull run and didn't want to question why it might be happening, but the extent and the extremity of that bull run might have been caused by a little bit of illicit Tether printing, or a lot of it. So this study concluded that 1% of hours that were correlated with extremely heavy printing of Tether correlated to 50% of the meteoric rise in Bitcoin's price, along with 64% of other cryptocurrencies. There is an argument, of course, that the correlation could simply be due to the fact that the inflow of Tether signals demand from traders. The researchers claim that other data suggests that Tether may not be fully backed by the USD, or at least not all of the time, as I explained just previously. The researchers conclude that this may indicate month-end need for sort of Tether supply. So essentially they print a bunch of Tether, buy a bunch of Bitcoin, and at the end of the month, they sort of sell that Bitcoin off to replenish their USD, their dollars sort of supplies, and make sure that they have enough money in the bank to cover their liabilities. However, this obviously includes a bit of speculation. So we don't really know exactly what's going on. We do know that Tether being printed has directly correlated with Bitcoin spikes and Bitcoin stabilization. So while it has helped the community, it's sort of positive manipulation, it's manipulation nonetheless, and we're going to get to the bottom of it and figure out exactly what's been going on. I know a lot of people don't quite understand why Bitcoin moves in various directions on various days, and this might be part of the explanation that we've been missing. It's a very interesting story, and we'll be keeping you updated as more details come to the fore. And unsurprisingly, Binance is back again to save the day, this time supporting the Icon token swap. So if everyone was wondering, how do I swap my Icon tokens? How do I swap my ICX for the mainnet token? Well, now you know. All you got to do is leave it on Binance, and voila, there you go. CZ saving the day once again. Thanks again, Changpeng Zhao. I'm just going to build him a shrine here in my living room. Somebody said that as a comment yesterday, and to be honest, we've been thinking that for a long time. CZ, man of the year. Thank you, sir. In more bullish adoption news, we have word that e-commerce giant JD will be issuing blockchain asset-backed securities, which is being approved by the Chinese version of the SEC, the Chinese Regulatory Commission that oversees securities. They believe that this could potentially shore up some issues with asset-backed securities in general. Again, it's just a bullish sign. It shows the use of blockchain infiltrating all different sorts of very legitimate sectors. We'll keep you updated, but again, we just wanted to give you a taste of something a little bit more bullish, a little bit more positive on a day that is a little bit topsy-turvy in the crypto market, to say the least. And now we have to talk about EOS, which hasn't quite launched its mainnet properly because it hasn't reached a voting critical threshold of 15%. Essentially, EOS needs 15% of all of its tokens to be registered and voted with. Each token is a vote, so 15% of all the tokens need to be sort of used as votes, but the way that you do that is through a command line, and command lines require basic understanding of code. Also, in addition to that, you need to put in your private key to vote, which to many people in the crypto community is a downright no-no, a critical rule that you shall not break. It's kind of funny that you have to go through such a cumbersome, confusing, and risky process to vote when voting is the critical foundational infrastructure block for the EOS mainnet. Obviously, this will work itself out in time. I believe they're up to 6% now. It was down at 2% a couple days ago, but this is the process by which EOS holders need to sort of put their faith in the system, open up a command line, issue their votes with their tokens. I think it wasn't very well thought through, this voting process. It's a bit funny, as Dan Larimer had actually expressed concern with having users vote because of the technical requirements that it would entail, as well as just the generic understanding of blockchain and the entire industry that it would require. So it's kind of funny that he made governance and voting the sort of crux of the EOS platform and a fundamental barrier to the mainnet even launching. Regardless of all that, I do believe that EOS will achieve this goal in time, but that's kind of what's going on here, is that you have to not only trust the system, understand the code, you have to put your private key in, and that's sort of a leap of faith for a lot of cryptocurrency veterans that has been tough, and you can see that evidenced by the fact that less than 7% of all token holders have actually voted. So we'll see how this plays out. Obviously, we believe the mainnet will be up and running eventually, and we'll let you know as soon as we have more details. And in what I find to be an interesting story, this man, Terrence Eden, has actually validated himself on an art validation blockchain, Verisart, which is supposed to be tracking provenance and, of course, confirming the validity of certain pieces of art and their creators. He's actually established himself as the creator of the Mona Lisa, which was, of course, produced in 1506 by Leonardo da Vinci. Now, this isn't possible, of course, and this, of course, brings to light a critical error in what a lot of people think of as this trust mechanism that is blockchain. Once you store information on the blockchain, of course, it is immutable. But before you create and store that information, how do you know that it was correct? How do you know that you can trust what was put on in the first place? Now, of course, with Bitcoin, there's a lot of consensus mechanisms here, but as we start to get into more complex, more nuanced data, like For example, the establishment of who created this painting. This is something where we have to have trust mechanisms that precede the blockchain aspect, because once stuff's on the blockchain, it's immutable, it's unchangeable, it lives on forever in its, state. However, how do we know that it was right to begin with? Now, I think a lot of blockchain projects don't focus on this, and for me, this is a critical sticking point in any blockchain projects that I'm both working on or advising, working with, is there has to be a trust mechanism established before the blockchain data is submitted. Otherwise, you don't have a real system. You certainly don't have an autonomous system that can be trusted and live on. And so I think this is really bringing to light a critical issue that we as a blockchain community need to be enforcing. We can't support projects that don't have trust mechanisms that prevent stuff like this from happening. And if you do, then what's the point of the blockchain? And you heard it right. Come at me, Beehive, because Beyonce is still not as popular as our favorite bee, the Bitcoin. And shout out Beyonce, big fan, massive fan. However, it's just worth noticing that even in its darkest hour, even when people have really taken their eyes off of this cryptocurrency and started to let it sort of fade off and let the fad die, we know that even Beyonce, one of the world's brightest, most shining stars, is still not as relevant as Bitcoin. And that is something that we can all celebrate. The FUD might be at an all-time high, and that's why FUD TV is here for you guys. Obviously, when the market's bulling and everyone's making money and no one really cares, you can throw money in any coin and you're making money, you don't really need this channel. But when things are really getting grim and you need a new perspective, we hope that this channel certainly helps you guys look at the market in different ways. If you enjoyed this, of course, if you're not subscribed to this channel, we encourage you to hit that subscribe button and hit that bell notification so you're made aware whenever we put out new content. I'm Elio Trades. I thank you guys so much for rocking with me, for being a part of this supportive, growing community that is FUD TV, and I'll see you very, very soon on the next episode. Thanks.